And hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. And before I get into the presentation, let me quickly give you a little background about myself. So, I'm working as the head of product management for the fraud and risk business unit in Mobileum. I have around 14 years of experience in the product management and product marketing space, especially in the area of fraud and risk management, customer experience management, as well as in the big data analytics space. Prior to Mobileum, I have worked with Flytext and Connectiva Systems at multiple roles of product manager, senior product manager, as well as head of marketing, where I have been responsible for building analytic solutions in the customer experience management domain, as well as in the fraud and risk domain. I hold a bachelor's degree in electronics and telecommunication, and I've done my master's in telecom and marketing. Great. First, okay, finally, thank you so much once again for joining this session today, where I will walk you through how applying advanced analytics like artificial intelligence and machine learning can help you in fighting this ever increasing subscription fraud. But before I get into this, some logistics, okay, let me share my screen. I will switch off my camera for better bandwidth, and I'll switch it on again so that once I complete my presentation and I'm ready to take your questions. Okay, so is the presentation visible to all?
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, once again, welcome to this webinar, guys, and thank you for joining the session today. Okay, well, we all know that subscription fraud occurs when a fraudster either uses its own or a stolen or a synthetic identity to obtain a mobile device or a service with absolutely no intention of paying for the acquired services and devices. In fact, as per the CFC's 2019 report, you see subscription fraud accounts for roughly 6 billion US dollars loss, which is either equivalent to the ever high IRSF fraud or is on the verge to overtake this revenue share fraud. Thus, it is quite evident that subscription fraud will not only impact the CSP's revenue, but it will also lead to poor customer experience and might even lead to massive data losses, leading to security threats such as stealing the subscribers' personally identified information for various activities. Having said that, I mean, before I go into the explaining how AI and ML can help you in combating this fraud, let's first step into a fraudster's shoe and understand why a fraudsters like committing subscription fraud. Well, if you see, subscription fraud acts as a gateway to commit several types of frauds. In fact, it is the starting point for many other telecom fraud scams, such as the recognized one, where like robocalling, you have IRSF frauds and other stuff. Okay, which not only leads to damage of the technical issues, but also leads to legitimate and illegitimate challenges in the operator's network. What happens is that perpetrators don't just stop by obtaining the legitimate services illegitimately. They usually use it as a precursor for other types of frauds. Okay, and that is what is the major reason for obtaining a subscription itself. So if you see subscription, the effect can be as catastrophic as possible, and it can even lead to escalating customer complaints, poor customer experience, as well as dissatisfaction among staffs, and sometimes even diminishing the investors' confidence. And that's why subscription fraud is characterized or categorized as a bad debt rather than a fraud itself. And this is why, if you see, nearly 40% of all the debts are actually associated to subscription fraud today. Well, now that I have given you that, already terrified you with this kind of the magnitude of this challenge, let me also further explain the complexity, especially when you are fighting against such fraudsters who have multiple accounts within your organization. And if you see in the multi-channel network, this was still one-to-one mapping of the service acquisition, and we had the option of performing subscription checks, authentication, and authorization across the individual interfaces like web stores, your kiosks, the mobile devices, or as well as on the phone interfaces itself. But when it becomes an omni-channel telecom experience, the fraudsters have multiple online as well as offline options to acquire these services. And now fraudsters will try to attack the operator service and the contents across these channels, which means the challenge is going to elevate uh, both in terms of authenticity across these communication channels, as well as the exactly how to dig out the false credentials and digital identities during the acquisition of these services. And at the same time, while the CSPs are expanding their services from traditional voice, SMS, and data services to a whole new world of digital contents, and even going beyond where they will allow subscribers to purchase on own e-commerce services and so forth. This has further boosted the fraudsters' business as they now will try to get standard telecom services by using authentic identities, and eventually they would try to build a confidence in the CSP's network by doing some regular updates on their billing patterns and other stuff, eventually to showcase that they are a genuine customer. And then underneath, they are trying to build a solid ground to acquire the highly lucrative services like the digital contents across Netflix or Amazon and so on and so forth, even want to purchase e-commerce products, which they would expect the telecom service providers to bring it into a single invoice as a monthly payment that has to be done. And that leads to a biggest revenue challenge for the operators today. Thus, this brings to one of the most critical aspects is that when do you actually start analyzing subscription fraud? In fact, subscription fraud detection should be performed during the entire customer life cycle, starting from all the way to acquisition to collections and payments. In fact, what we today understand is that subscription fraud cannot be a one point activity. It has to be a continuous monitoring process solution which can be applied during the entire customer life cycle on the CSP's network. As I said, starting all the way from the customer acquisition to service provisioning, service usage, service upgrades, even downgrades, any new services that they are looking for activations, as well as we have to tightly couple it with the payment delays all the way to the collection strategies. So if this is such a complex ecosystem, then how can you better manage subscription fraud? And this is where you really will have to rely significantly on advanced analytics capabilities at various stages. Uh, let's say at the detection stage, you have to perform social network analysis, digital fingerprinting, or even applying multi-factor authentication to ensure that the right subscriber is detected. In the reaction process, you have to perform advanced link analysis, predictive analytics, correlation across the usage of the subscriber. And finally, in the prevention stage, you have to perform, or you can say the artificial intelligence will help you to perform device fingerprinting, voice biometrics, risk scoring, as well as crawling into the dark web for tracking or identifying missing links of these subscribers. Having said that, let's first step is very important. The most important thing is to establish the authenticity of the subscriber during their onboarding stage itself. So advanced analytics can tighten your initial screening process by performing multi-factor authentications such as biometrics, digital identity verification, voice and face recognitions. If the subscriber still successfully passes these stages, the system will not just stop here. In fact, it will further apply ML and AI capabilities to analyze subscriber behavior by performing location analytics, velocity check, usage analytics, or you can say calling and call pattern analysis. And finally, can help you by predicting and scoring subscribers for taking relevant actions. Having said that, advanced analytics can be further help you to leverage the power of social data to improve your ability to make fast and accurate decisions. These systems can actually perform web crawling into the entire world of dark web, as well as can be connected to the unstructured data across Facebook's, you can say, LinkedIn, the Twitter accounts, as well as Gmails and other social media networks, and can help you to evaluate the subscriber profiles by performing natural language processing, content and context analysis. You can also do sentiment analysis and thus help by proactively detecting and discovering the latent intents and the insights of the subscriber if they are fraudsters for taking faster and accurate decisions. So having with all these capabilities, advanced analytics can further be applied to generate risk scores and your profile of each subscribers. The subscriber profile, the subscriber behavior is very complex, if you say. I mean, as the subscriber logs from various multiple devices, locations, and channels, it is important to understand the users are not only on their digital identity stuff, but also from the user's historical, you can say, connections and their usage perspective. And that's where artificial intelligence can automatically execute the due diligence through machine learning algorithms that gather information on the subscriber in order to understand the risk that might present in your organization. Not only this will actually help you will further help you in streamlining your onboarding processes, prevent account takeover, as well as help you to detect potential inside threats. So in a nutshell, I would like, unlike rules only, I would say that bring advanced analytics, AI, ML capabilities at the heart of the fight against subscription fraud, which will allow you to take a step ahead of your fraudsters. Machine learning models can account for the changing fraudsters' behavior as well as they evolve in the ecosystem. Okay, by using AI and ML technologies, you can perform multiple web crawls. You can uh, detect compromised personal information such as social security networks. You can look at their driving licenses. You can check out their email addresses, and as well as all this information that you perform can help you to analyze the entire behavior of a subscriber during the account opening as well as during their product and service activation stages. Further, it can tighten your system by performing digital identity verification. Uh, Digital identity verification as well as can generate predictive risk scores, allowing you to take proactive actions like you can bar your subscribers, you can restrict their accesses to particular services, or you can even deny their services for a complete act, you can say log out of the network itself. So finally, it gives me immense pleasure to showcase how Mobileum has been successful in applying advanced analytics capabilities in an operator's omni-channel subscriber network and effectively help the operator in combating subscription fraud in the network. In fact, one of the biggest advantage that we brought to the subscriber was that it provided a multi-layered approach to this omni-channel fraud detection capability. In conjunction with adaptive rules that we were applying, we also applied AI and ML models, enabling it to process vast quantities of data across multiple channels to detect fraudulent patterns that can be further investigated. The system performed multiple web crawls to detect compromised information such as email addresses, phone numbers, as well as it also leveraged on varied third-party databases like the street addresses, the PIN codes available with the global third-party information. And then we mapped all these information accurately to detect a compromised subscriber information, allowing the operators to take a relevant action as well as allowing them to give a right services to their subscribers. And this all, thus, with the help of this artificial intelligence and machine learning backed solution, we were able to analyze close to 500,000 subscriber base. We were able to identify roughly 400 fake identities. Almost close to 15 million addresses were normalized through machine learning activities. And eventually we prevented close to 1.3 million worth of fraudulent losses for our customer partner. Finally, I would like to conclude by saying that monitoring data that has been collected over time across the diverse data set as well as across your network interfaces will allow you to take your processes effectively, efficiently, and predictably. It will allow you to have a profitable system through the use of knowledge discovery, machine learning, and data mining techniques. So it's time to embrace the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning and bring it at the center of the entire you can say fraud detection methodology as an effective weapon to fight against subscription fraud. That's it from my end. I'm more than happy to have your questions, guys.